like salad. Do you like salad?
Welcome to Canadian Salad,
a fun, factual, and friendly podcast about culture and integration in Canada.
I'm one of your hosts. I'm Hostion Ho from China, currently living in unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.
And I'm Andrea McCauley, an immigrant from the United States, broadcasting you from the unceded traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations.
And you're listening to Canadian Salad. You look very different.
I look very... Do I look older? Do I look like I'm
No.
50?
No. You do look a bit comfy. Some might say old, but I say comfy. No,
Comfy
I think
old. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I don't think you look old. You're still shining with so much beauty in you. What's more beautiful is inside of you.
Oh, my love. Likewise.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a beautiful person as well. I mean, I think
you.
you're pretty hot.
Thank you.
I do.
Oh my God, you're telling me more.
If I was single, girl.
Anyway, today is not about how beautiful we are.
Although that could be an entire episode.
Yeah. We'll talk about our beauty. That would be good. But no, that's not about that. We're going to talk about something more. Well, we're going to talk about something almost as fragile as beauty.
Ooh, that's a good way to frame it. Yes. What type of fragility are we talking about today?
We're talking about white fragility. I see what you did there.
Girl, I got you.
Yes. Thank you.
This is a great topic. And I think we've wanted to do it for a while. And Hoshin, you did all the research and stuff behind it. And I'm just really thankful to have this discussion. And I want to say for our listeners, if this is the first time, and if even the term white fragility is like making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, stay with us, because part of the uncomfort is learning and listening. And people are literally like, our world is really suffering, and the global majority is, anyway, they're the brunt of a lot of this white supremacy. And so now is the time. Like, it's just, you can't just, well, maybe later. Today's the day. So hang in with us. We're here and we're all on this journey together. So that's my call out. Yeah. Good.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So yes, let's have this journey together.
Yes.
I promise you, white folks, if you listen to this episode, it will make you a better person if you actually listen and digest and decided to unlearn or learn something. Yes.
Absolutely.
But before we dive into it, Andrea,
yes.
How does white fragility shows up for you in like your relationships and your everyday life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there have been some times where people have pointed out maybe my writing, like words that I'm putting for work, where people are like, that sounds like white saviorism. And I'm like, but I didn't intend. There's this like little part in me that still, and this is, I think, key for everyone listening, is like, this is a journey of unlearning. And I don't think I will ever arrive until, it's a journey. And so I just feel like when people have pointed that out, like there is a little part of me that just, it's like a little knee kick reaction. It's like a knee jerking, like when the doctor like kind of tests your reflexes and kind of does that little hammer thing. I feel that come up. And there's another part of me though that's, whoa, wait a minute. This information is being told to you in a healthy way. This person is safe. They care for you and they care about the impact of your words. So let's listen and let's examine why you're feeling this way, and sitting with the discomfort and really addressing like, why did I have that response? So it shows up with my work. Sometimes it shows up in my friendships. Like if I have a friend who says, Andrea, you've never had to think about code switching because you're white. You've never had to change your tone or use different language because you just assume everyone agrees with you. Whereas me, my friend as a woman of color, like I always am having to position my language in a way that is palatable for the audience because I'm a woman of color. And so there's just these like conversations and these times, and they come up out of, sometimes I'm not even looking for it and they come up, but I am so thankful that I have people in my life that are, one, brave enough to like point it out, to keep me accountable. But also I'm very thankful that it wasn't like I went to a course and just started learning all this. This has been it's a continuous life But it's the school of life, This is something that I'll continue to have to unlearn because of the system I grew up in and the privileges that I still get. So, yeah.
Fair.
How about you, Hoshin?
Oh my God. As someone who dated two long-term white boyfriends, it came to me a lot. I won't say in my general friend group, I have a lot of white friends, but two of my long-term boyfriends, they're white. And this white fragility come up in various occasions and format. Even though both of them, I've asked them to read Me and White Supremacy, which discuss white fragility, but I think one of them digests it better than the other.
I got you.
After reading the book, because I can see, for one of them, I can see the obvious behavior change and how after the book he approached this conversation so much differently. So like I can see how knowledge really can change people. I don't know in other interracial relationship how the racial minority feels when this conversation come up, but it definitely made me feel very small. It made me feel like I already have to suffer so much racism outside of the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet if in the relationship, I still have to deal with my white partner's fragility, which is double the labor.
Yeah. I can only imagine how exhausting that must be. And at some point, you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done,
In many ways, I think I'm a very giving person or a forgiving person. But only so much I can talk about this. I'm always willing to give people, teach people phrases, ideologies. Like, I have a master in it. I understand not everyone has the, and you too. Like, I just generally I understand, like, not everyone has the vocabulary for certain things or the knowledge or at the time, the privilege in some sense, because knowledge in many ways is a privilege. And I understand I have the privilege to know them. So when I have the mental capacity, I'm really willing to give people that knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to thank you for even taking the time to do the work for this episode and for the conversation, because it is so needed. It is so needed. Yeah.
No, I think so too. And also, as I mentioned, I feel like I'm the person who had to give this conversation because I deal with it a lot.
Well, this is the nuance of the situation, because there is a point where, like, we as white people are very responsible for our own education. But who knows the topic the best? It's the people who've experienced. It's good to learn from other people and then take on that further responsibility of learning and relearn. And
And as always, our podcast is not like just our opinions. We give our opinions, but a lot of the content of the podcast is usually from research, which we would do too. And this podcast, most of the research, most of the knowledge are drew from actually from different books. But again, we put all this in our show notes in our website, so please go see all the books that we drew this podcast from. Yeah. And I promise you will learn a lot, because I, as a POC, also learn a lot from it.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, now let's first talk about what is white fragility.
Ooh, I like this. Let's break it down. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a lot of people, after we throw that term so many times,
I know. It's true,
still confused what it is. Yeah.
For sure.
Still confused.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The term white fragility was popularized by a sociologist, Dr. Robin DiAngelo.
Okay.
She defines it as, and I quote, a state in which even a minimal amount of racial stress becomes intolerable, triggering defensive moves. End quote. This is from the book White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism. Yeah. So in simple terms, white fragility refers to the defensive reaction some white people have when race or racism is discussed. And this reaction can look like anger, guilt, denial, or tears, or silence, or even shutting down completely. And these all can be defensive reaction.
Yeah.
Of course,
even
this
dismissive
is not
too, right?
Yeah, dismissive,
like dismissing.
Yeah. Or in general, just discomfort, or like this kind of eagerness to change the topic, to just not sit with the topic. So any discomfort that you see there, and because of this discomfort, they, instead of engaging with this issue, they usually shift the focus to protect their personal comfort, right?
Or reputation.
Or reputation, yeah. So they will talk about anything, then the white fragility, the defensive reaction that they have. Yeah. Then talk
Yeah.
about why they feel this way.
Yeah.
They want to talk about many other things, just not
Yeah.
that. And it's important to say this very clearly, though, because like white fragility is not about individual morality. It's about the system, social condition, and how whiteness
Yeah.
has been positioned as the default in many societies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the system we've been handed and the belief framework or the parameters which we were born into, which we learned in our schools, in our governments, in society, our economies. Like everything is constructed with white supremacy embedded in it.
Exactly. That's why, like in the book, like Dr. D'Angelo explains that many white people grew up in environments where they rarely have to think about race. So when race does come up, it feels threatening, right? Especially when they are the bad guy, which they are the bad guy in the history.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't like that feeling, that to confront with that, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like they feel threatened because maybe in many narratives, white people is the bad guy, not because the person, the individual is the bad guy or a bad person in general, but because they haven't built the emotional tools to handle this kind of criticism or this kind of generalization conversation.
True.
Yeah. And so that's why they feel so threatened.
And they feel like it's, yeah, because they do. I think to your point, this isn't about a value system. This isn't about being good or bad. This is about inheriting this response, this knee-jerk response, because that's what your generation upon generation has done that. An example, I have a friend in the States. I won't name her name because sometimes she listens, but she was in Georgia working, and Georgia is in the southern part of the United States, so predominantly African Americans population. And she said that she's just, at my workplace, like people just aren't friendly. They don't talk to me. Like I like just saying hi to people. And there's a couple women who are Black at the workplace, and I say hi to them, and they don't even say hi back, and they just give me the cold shoulder. What the heck? I'm trying to be nice and you're not even being nice back. And so it was this tone of like, well, I'm trying, why aren't you doing the same to me? And I said to her, could it be that there hasn't been a white woman that they could ever trust? So why would they open that up and be friendly to you when they know exactly how they're going to be treated? I'm not the other women. They don't know that. It doesn't. Yeah. And it's not about you, so it does become this like, I'm putting forth the effort. I'm trying to like be equal and like inclusive. And that focus and that these sentences are all about, I'm trying. The
individual morality. Yes.
Yes. And look how good I am. And it's still not being received because I believe, like you said, we've shifted the perspective to ourselves rather than looking at the system. I think the other way to approach it for her would have been like, I'm going to keep just being a friend. And if I can engage with them, great. If not, like I understand. And I just hope that one day I can do something different in order to make this world better. It shifts from defensive to proactive. And you're not like I'm just, I know. Right? So
it happens a lot, especially dating. Like I know so many, again, I have many friends that are from the global majority. And then some of them were like, I would never, oh my God, I don't think I can ever date a white person. And sometimes I would maybe talk to my white friends about this casually. Say, my friend does not date white people. And then they were like, oh, that's not good. I thought you guys don't like racism, blah, 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 blah. This like good white people like us exist. I was like, it's not about you. Yeah. It's not about you. It's about they've been hurt by white people their whole life. Yeah. They just don't feel safe, you know?
And the energy, the exhaustion from trying to have the other person understand who you are and where you're coming from when they just won't see it. Like that is exhausting.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I sometimes also say, exactly, is this reaction that you have? That's why they don't like white people. That because they don't like people and you give this negative and you judge them instead of judge the system that they are raised in. That's exactly why they don't want to date white people.
Right.
So maybe you should think about that first before you judge my friend.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe you can engage with my friend with more empathy than judgment.
Exactly. Or curiosity, like, oh
Oh,
gosh,
curiosity, yes, better than judgment, always. Yes. And second, I want to talk about also like why fragility happens. Why fragility doesn't come out of nowhere, obviously. It is definitely shaped by history, education, and social structure. That's the thing I want to get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is social conditioning. In many Western societies, whiteness is treated as the norm. Canada, for example. Race is something other people have. They don't ever, white people really rarely think about race in their everyday life, right? Unless they're confronted with it. Scholar Ruth Frankenberg explained in White Women, Race Matters. Whiteness often operates as an invisible identity, unexamined and unquestioned. So when someone finally points out race, it can feel like an accusation instead of an observation. So like whiteness rarely put to be judged or examined or compare. So then when you confront white people of their whiteness and racism because their whiteness, they would feel like, oh my God, you're accusing me of doing certain things because that conversation just rarely happen to them. They don't really need to question their whiteness, right? Whereas us, for example, every day I walk out the street, it is about my race.
Yeah.
Or if we had a white partner, every time we walk out together, it is about the comparison about his whiteness and my Asianness. Right. So, and that for us is such a common thing that we don't even consciously thinking about it. But for them, it's a conscious effort. So that when people point out their whiteness, they are so, again, as mentioned, the discomfort that they feel. Right.
Yeah.
And that's me to the second point I want to make is that comfort, because whiteness is not often questioned. White people often see this kind of racial comfort as a standard.
Sure.
It's the baseline for them.
Sure.
When a conversation challenges that comfort, it can feel like something is wrong. Like sociologists,
Eduardo Bonilla Silva. Bonilla.
Bonilla. Oh my God. Sorry, I butchered that name. I really bad at
It's a
it.
Spanish. No, I don't
Which you better than me. You better than I know. I do not speak Spanish. Thank you, Andrea,
No,
for
it's okay.
saying that name. Like it describes this in Racism Without Racists. He noted how modern racism often shows up through defensiveness and denial rather than open hostility. Which I was sitting with that idea for a little bit and thinking about like how around me that is like the norm, which I agree with. I remember I saw like a clip, a Black American. He said he preferred Chinese racism because Chinese racism is out in the open. Like
interesting.
Sometimes can be very hostile, but that's rooted in ignorance. Because they don't know. They're just like, oh, why are Black people that's this, Black people that's that. I think that's what Aristotle says about open hostility. But then he said in States, his friends, you never know. Because again, sometimes it's a denial. When racism happens, they just don't see it, or they try to like make some excuse. Or oh, maybe they don't mean that way.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are feeling, maybe they're having a bad day. That's why they say such a thing. Maybe they don't mean it, or they just try to find some way to kind of brush it off,
right?
So that they don't have to engage. They dismiss it, so they don't have to engage in this racial conversation.
Yes.
And I was like. And so, this book reminded me of that clip. I was like, okay, I think I understand what that means now. And I think in Canada too. I think Canada also, people prefer to brush it off in denial than actually openly talk about it and have this open hostility, quote unquote, about racism.
Yeah, it's not Canada. No, we're not like the United States.
Yeah,
we're not
exactly.
racist. I'm not like the KKK. I've heard that before, and it's like,
oh, ew.
No, you're not. And you've also grown up in systems where the KKK was protected for a long time. So, And that dismissiveness, like you said, if we want to put like maybe a name to that, it's like a microaggression. It's dismissing a person's experience and explaining it away, which basically discredits the person's perspective all the time.
Yeah.
It always is saying, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I was in a workplace where, and I think I shared this story on another episode, maybe last year or something like that. But we had a friend who was sick, and my friend who was a African Canadian, she went to go visit him and had told me that she was telling me about her experience when she showed up at his house. The neighbor came out of the house and said, "What are you doing here?" And she said, "I'm visiting my friend." How long are you going to be visiting? Like, this neighbor was really just inquisitive and like policing her visit. I went to go visit the same friend, same neighborhood.
Nothing
happened. And so when she was explaining, my friend, a coworker, was explaining this to the secretary, who was white, the secretary was like, "Oh, well, maybe they just, they didn't know you look like someone that reminded them and they just needed to come out." Or she was just very dismissive. And I said, Pam, no. Because when I went to go visit, they didn't do the same to me. And a visible difference between this woman and I is our skin color. It was a racist moment.
Yeah.
That
I have this kind of story. Yeah, I have so many of these stories, so many. Sometimes I remember this one time I'm complaining to a friend. I was like, we were in a group hangout, and then this one person, white person, I feel like he's really dismissive to me, and I'm like one of probably the only people of color there in that group. And I felt that white person, has always tried to avoid talking to me and gives me very dismissive vibe in terms of like conversation, even though we're in a group together. Yeah. So I complained to my friend, was like, I don't think that guy likes me. And I think it's a racial thing, because in this friend group, everyone, I observe him talk to everyone. He somehow just always trying to avoid me. Yeah. And then my friend was like, "Oh, maybe no, maybe he just didn't find much common with you, or maybe just you overthink this."
Right.
But this kind of dismissiveness is like, it always make me feel like, so you think I'm crazy? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It is. It's like your testimony and your experience can't be trusted.
Yes. I hate when white people dismiss when I feel when I know.
Right.
Sometimes it's just, I know. It's not even I feel.
Yeah,
it's definitely racially motivated.
Exactly.
And they just dismiss my reality in that way, just crazy. So but again, go back to the point we just said. Right. They would do anything to avoid open hostility, to open talk about race. Exactly. Which is another example of how white people sits in comfort. This is their default reality. The last thing I also want to mention is many people, not just white people actually, like hate to be called racist, right? Because they equate racists are bad.
Right.
If you're racist, then you're a bad person. Instead of hearing feedbacks, they protect their identity. If any criticism towards them is like leaning towards a racist direction, they will just to protect their identity, they will just react really quickly, right? "Oh, I'm not racist," or "I have black friends. I didn't mean it that way. This is not what I mean. This is not the intent." Like they'll say many things just to protect that conversation. Yes. And this turned the conversation into a defense of character rather than a discussion about impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's them centering themselves as opposed to looking at the actual harm that racism is. I'll be honest, I would say probably one of the most freeing things for my journey is just admitting that I am racist.
I think everyone is a racist.
Right? That I have inherited stories and perspectives that demean and diminish other people. So I've inherited that. And honestly, recognizing that and accepting that, then you can decide, then you're able to be like, okay, because I am racist, I have an ability and a choice to do differently, to respond better.
I agree. I think everyone should just accept they are racist. Yeah. And I think we grew up in this system. Everyone cannot escape. None of us grew up in Mars, okay? Even though maybe we want to, but
in a vacuum.
We are not.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are inherently the children of racist systems, all of us. So maybe the sooner we accept that part of ourselves, the easier it is for us to unlearn. The more motivation it is for us to unlearn, I should say
Right.
that. The next one I want to talk about is how white fragility shows up. How it shows up. So no matter you're white or you are from the global majority, I think it's good to recognize when white fragility shows up in conversations. So now we're giving you the tools and maybe it's like some prompts when this kind of conversation or this kind of like word shows up, it is a case of white fragility happening.
I like this. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Yes. So white fragility does not always look like it's like yelling or hostility. Often it's very subtle. Yeah. So that's
I would say it's rarely that way because
True, it's
anytime
rarely-
any person of color has tried to bring up anything that's honest about racism, they have to like really pad it in a way that's very, because of white fragility, they have to package it in a way that's so
comfortable to digest.
comfortable for the other person to digest. It's rarely through a megaphone and a big stick. You know what I mean?
I know.
Which
Exactly.
it needs
It's
to be
like-
sometimes, but yeah.
It's like modern medicine pill. You wrap a layer of sugar on the top before
There you go.
give them
Yes.
the pill.
Yes, exactly. I do it with my cats. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's 3 common ways. I want to break down the 3 common ways that it shows up in conversations. The first one is shifting the conversation to their own feelings. So usually when like whatever racial tension or racial conversation is happening, instead of focusing on the harm that is done by racism or whatever, or the system, white people, the conversation becomes about how they feel. They just change the conversation instead of the harm, they change it into how they feel.
Yeah.
For example, if they say things like, oh, I feel attacked by that comment. This is actually really hard for me to hear. Or like, oh, this conversation makes me feel uncomfortable. These are the verbal prompts to show you that white fragility is happening. And Dr. D'Angelo also points out that this kind of like recentering white emotions derails the conversation from its original issue.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I think we can all see that.
Right.
Yeah. Because
exactly.
the conversation should never be about the feeling. Because again, white people, they want to talk about feeling because they're so not used to discomfort. While POCs, we always in this discomfort.
Yeah.
Is already not a fair starting point.
No.
Right? Exactly. So now the person of color is managing someone's feeling instead of discussing racism. Like the POC who has always been sitting in this discomfort now had to take care of the white person's feeling, while in many ways is the system that they are in cause this discomfort for them in some sense.
Exactly.
They are responsible for their feeling. The people of color did not create the problem of their feeling.
No.
They,
exactly.
as it's the white system, creates that discomfort of that feeling. So, but then they changing that conversation to center their feeling makes the POC responsible.
Yes.
So if someone or any of your any POC friends listening, if any white friend come to you to ask you to validate their feeling when racism happens, a conversation happens, just tell them to F off.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
It is.
yeah.
I know better way to say it.
Well, and I've heard so many people say, "Why do you got to bring race into it? Why do you have to make this about racism?"
Oh, I heard that.
Because it's always been about privileging one race over the other or one color of person over the other. That's why it's always brought up, because that's always been the system since you were born. So
It's always been the system,
I'm not even sorry. Like, it has to be brought up, because until the system is changed and different, and it's not about the color of someone's skin, we will never have any other conversation. So until that's changed, man, you have to get used to it. You just have to, until the system is not about that, then we won't have this conversation. But it is about that.
agree.
We're still here.
I agree. Like even the example that you give, right, about you just your black friend visiting someone, race becomes an issue.
Yeah.
You go to grocery, race becomes an issue.
You
I
go out
just
to
walk-
dinner. The way the waiter will not look
Treat
at
you-
my black friend versus me.
Yeah. Race is an issue. Like race is always an issue whenever you as long as you open your eyes, open your eyes, race becomes an issue. Till you close your eyes to your bed, that is always going to be an issue. So don't let your wife friend change the conversation and shift the focus.
Yeah.
Because again, how they feel, you're not responsible. And sometimes
Exactly.
they are responsible.
Absolutely.
They are the one who make them feel that way, not you.
Absolutely.
So don't let them change, like drag you to change the center, the focus of the conversation.
Absolutely.
And the second is tone policing. Tone policing is when someone focuses on how something is said instead of what is said,
Oh my gosh.
right?
So
Like,
many times I've heard
I know.
this.
Like, I'll give you some
Gosh.
verbal cues. Like, for example, if they say, oh, you would get your point across better if you're calmer.
Right.
Or why are you so angry about this?
Exactly.
Oh, you don't have to be so emotional and reactive. This are usually things they would say to try to tone policing.
Yep.
And also, again, is when they say this, it's a case of white fragility.
Right.
Here's the problem, though. Anger is a reasonable response to injustice. So when people
Hallelujah.
say,
Amen. Yes, absolutely.
it's reasonable. Like if someone
Absolutely.
dismiss your lived experience as a racial minority, global majority, and then ask you to be calm, that is crazy. You bring the knife to my neck and ask me to be calm.
Exactly. That's
That is
exactly
crazy
it.
talk.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Put a
ask
boot
me
on my neck.
nicely. Yeah, exactly. Ask me nicely
boot
to
to-
put this knife away. Exactly.
This is no way. Exactly. Don't let them tone policing you, right?
Yeah.
There's another book actually. Psychologist Dr. Daryl Wynn Su explained that in a book, microaggression in everyday life. That dismissing emotional response invalidates lived experience,
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
which I think we all know that already. So again, always remember that your anger is justified. You being emotional, reactive is justified because they are bringing a boot. They're putting a boot on your neck, putting a knife to your neck.
Exactly.
So do not let them tell you to calm down when they are trying to dismiss you and harm you in that way.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And the last I want to talk about is emotional shutdown or silence. There's another emotional cue that white fragility is happening. Sometimes white fragility looks like withdrawal, like silencing or avoiding the topic or changing the subject or not even engaging at all, you know. This kind of reaction creates what scholar Tima Okun calls fear of conflict in white dominant spaces where harmony is prioritized over justice. But you have to know silence does not protect anyone.
No,
It just maintains a status quo.
it does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. It allows it to continue and continue.
Exactly.
And
Is tolerating.
and it won't go away. So this conversation will keep happening. Like I said, like until the system has completely changed, this will never,
Okay.
we will never stop talking.
It will
about
never
this.
stop.
Yeah.
We will absolutely
It will
stop.
never stop. Yeah. Exactly.
It will never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Silence is what is that word again? What's that phrase again that you
Silence is violence.
Yeah, silence is violence. Basically, it is what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next, I want to talk about what the impact on POCs of this kind of white fragility, how it impacts us. Because white fragility has real consequences.
Right.
It doesn't just make conversation awkward. It harms people from the global majority emotionally, socially, and professionally. Like we just talked about the emotional labor, right? We have to, like people of color have to explain racism, have to, I don't know, soften their tone, even comfort white people, or reassure them
Yeah.
when white people shift the topic to about their feelings, which is never about their feelings. This is emotional labor.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of sociologists like define this emotional labor as managing emotions to meet social expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a lot of people from the global majority, this often means making racism easier to digest for them, which
Yes.
you also just mentioned. Like that itself is an emotional labor that
It
we
is.
have to somehow make racism easier
Right.
for white folks to digest. Even though
Right.
we are the one being harmed, we somehow have to package it in a right way.
Right.
It's
right.
very exhausting. And over time also, many people of color stop speaking up, not because the issue disappear, but because the cost is too high. It costs them too much like mental spaces and capacity.
Yeah. I have a friend, she's a Black Canadian, and she said, Andrea, I'm done. I'm done trying to fight, and I'm glad you have energy to do it, but I'm done.
Yeah.
And you probably get into like mental health, but like Black women in the workplace experience the most amount of microaggressions and racial discrimination, tone policing, all of it. And they are at higher risk of mental health and even unaliving than any other demographic.
Yes, I'm actually getting,
Okay.
I actually want to get to psychology as well, yes,
Yeah.
because a lot of this fragility does have actual mental costs to people from the global majority. Like Dr. Shu's research has shown that this kind of repeated dismissal leads to like self-doubt, internalized stress, and reduced trust in institutions, and even depression and anxiety. So like the real consequences of it is really dire.
It is.
Like it really is literally hurting people.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the podcast, I also said I dated two long-term white boyfriends, and sometimes they maybe want to have this conversation with me because they think they want to learn something from it, whatever. But sometimes I don't always have the capacity to.
No.
But then sometimes I was guilt tripped to have this conversation because I feel like you don't want to have this conversation. Oh, I feel like you don't want to resolve this issue. Sometimes it's not, I don't want to resolve this issue. First, there's no issue to resolve. It's not issue to resolve, right?
Yeah.
It's that I don't want to take on the emotional labor. Why don't you take on the emotional labor? Why don't you educate yourself? Why don't you go on seminars?
There's so many social media influencers, like you can passively learn from people too. There's so many tools
exactly
for white people to learn. Yeah.
Racism is not going to resolve because we had a conversation. Like it's not going to resolve that. Exactly. Like your white fragility is not going to be resolved because we have a conversation.
Right.
Me telling you all the talking points, all the knowledge points about white fragility is not going to change your perspective like that, like a click.
Right. No, it's
So
a
why
journey.
should I
Yeah, exactly.
So don't guilt trip me by saying, oh, I feel like you don't want to engage in conversations with me and resolve this with me. Don't guilt trip me into that. And don't guilt trip any of your POC partners. This will be my recommendation to all the white people there that's engaged in interracial relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I think that there's definitely a time to listen to perspectives, and even I think it's okay, white people, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Hoshin, but it's okay to check in and with your friend or partner who is of the global majority and say, hey, did I say anything or do anything today that I just didn't realize, and that maybe I made you feel small or I dismissed you? I think it's okay to check in, but I also think there's an additional piece to that. It's that self-learning and that self-education, and that not expecting the closest person in your life to take on the emotional labor, the educational labor of you unlearning the system that you're born into, because you're just as capable.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. Well, there's all the talking points I want to talk about white fragility. Well, maybe not all, but I do want to like maybe end on like
sure.
End on one is.
Yeah, this could be 10 hours.
Yeah, like it's not, there's a lot more, yes. But I want to end on one part is how do we move forward? How can we move beyond white fragility?
Yeah.
Like I think the most important part is definitely white fragility is learned, which means it can be unlearned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think first is I urge every, not just white person actually in some sense, if you are, no, mostly white people actually. The first point I want to mention is to build this racial stamina. Like Dr. D'Angelo talks about racial stamina the way that we talk about physical stamina.
Yeah,
discomfort is not danger, right? It's growth.
Yeah.
The more we sit with it, how this discomfort feeling, racial discomfort, the more that we don't rush to fix it, the more we're used to it, the more we're close to how a regular people of color feels, the more you can know what it feels, then I think white fragility will be less frequently show up.
Yeah.
for white folks out there. And I think the second thing I want to share is listen to understand, but not to defend. Instead of maybe after a white folks, if you said something, maybe POC found offensive, instead of saying, oh, I didn't mean that, try to like, oh, I hear how that impacted you. I hear how that what I just said make you feel that way. Make it like if you have to always the first thing you said is to defend yourself, that you already lost. You already lost that game.
Yeah.
Not that it's about winning or losing, obviously.
Right. But
the path of unlearning, you already stopped yourself if you try to defend it. Yes. And then another thing is try your best to decenter yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't put your feelings in the middle of the conversation. Don't put your voice and your opinion in the conversation. Don't ask people around you, especially people from the global majority, to be patient and to be calm in this kind of conversation.
Yeah.
You know, just so that they can protect your feeling. Don't do any of that.
Right. Exactly.
Like, a progress require the shifting of the spotlight.
Yeah.
The last I want to share is keep learning without burdening and relying on people of color.
Yes.
Read books, watch lectures, listen to our podcasts.
Yeah. I would even say for white people, find other white people who are on this active journey of unlearning. And if you want to have these discussions about where you are in your journey, or even like for me, before I put out this post, I sent it to my friend who's white and I said, how does this sound? And she said, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't like the language here." And so it was really good because she was doing the labor with me. I didn't send it to my black friend or my Asian friend. I sent it to my white friend who I know is on a journey as well. And she was able to be a good sounding board and be able to reflect back to me the things that I wasn't seeing. So find other white people who are in this work. I'm in this work. You can always reach out to me, like, so that we're not expecting people of color or even the global majority to always be doing that emotional labor.
Agree. Well said.
Yes. Can I read this one quote I saw last night? And I absolutely love this because it's so in line with what you've brought up, Hostion, so wonderfully today. This is online. This was by the Latina Confidential. And the quote is, "Privilege is being able to wonder if it's your fight. Empathy is knowing that if someone's hurting, it already is." End quote. So have that empathy. Know that if someone is already hurting, as we know people from the global majority are under this system of white supremacy and racism, stop wondering if it's your fight and be empathetic and say, this already is my fight. I'm already going to be a part of this. I'm already going to try to change things. So
I know. But I feel like a lot of white folks will put their empathy towards themselves. Oh, I'm hurting. Again, they will center themselves, their own feeling in
But
this
that's not
discussion.
empathy. And that's what this quote is so powerful, because if we want to be really empathetic people, if we really want to be kind-hearted and compassionate and people who are about the work, this isn't about being a good white person or a bad white person. This is literally about being a decent human being who's empathetic. Having that empathy is saying someone is hurting, I'm involved, I'm engaged, and I'm going to do something to work towards the end of people's pain. Yeah. So anyway.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Anyway, that's all.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for engaging this conversation with me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know. Sometimes this conversation, I don't know how comfortable you are feeling. But again, I know it's not about your comfort.
Yeah.
But I just want to also appreciate you willing to sit in the discomfort, because I assume some of this conversation may not be very comfortable for you. But I just want to appreciate that you sit with the discomfort and open-mindedly have this conversation with me and give me your perspective. And I really appreciate your candor and also your kindness. And most importantly, you show me so much tenderness in these kind of conversations and give me like a sounding board to maybe to validate, to maybe feel like I'm not crazy. Because I have to tell you, most of the white people around me does not give me what you give me. It's this kind of validation that yes, there's white people actually knows what's happening.
Well, and
that
Hostion,
we're not alone in this fight.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say thank you to you for even having the emotional energy to talk about it with me, not knowing how I would respond, not knowing how much emotional effort you would have to put in, and even all this research and all this time. You've done so much and you've given so much of yourself, not just of the time to write up the outline and all the information, but even just your experiences, which sometimes reliving that, like the body can feel those emotions again. And I can understand how maybe recalling some of the things that you recalled today, just like, it's uncomfortable just as much for you, if not even more, because you've had to experience that. So I just want to thank you for being willing to have the conversation with me. So yeah.
Thank you. But also from what you just said, you definitely go to a lot of therapy, because that's my therapist always said too. Like when we call incidents, our body remembers.
Yes, they do.
I did, yeah. Some of the examples I gave to you, I also feel it in some of the body parts.
And that's not pleasant. That's uncomfortable.
It's
and
not pleasant.
While you're sharing that story, like it's sad for me to hear, but I'm not feeling that same discomfort because I didn't experience it. So I just want to thank you for doing that, and hope you can take maybe a bubble bath after this episode, or
bubble tea.
Ooh, yum, yes, do. Yes, yeah. So thank you.
Anyway,
yeah. Well, it's Canadian Salad Pop Quiz.
Yeah, let's go to Canadian Salad Pop Quiz.
Yes, okay. So if you're new to joining us, thank you so much. I would say thank you for sticking through. And if this is your first episode, let it not be the last. So keep listening. We're on any major platform, and we're on social media, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Instagram. But this is the part of the show where we give each other a quiz question about today's topic and see if the other person can get the answer right. So, Hostion, would you like to go first?
Ooh, I always go first. You go first this time.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Around what time or what year was the term white introduced as a racial category?
Ooh. Maybe the 1800s?
Okay.
1900s, sorry.
Okay.
So
Is that your final answer?
Like 1848.
1848. Okay.
The 1900s.
Ooh, it's much earlier.
Much earlier?
Yeah, 1690s.
16. Oh, the 1700s.
Yeah, the 1700s. Anyway, there's a lot of history to unpack, but that was the first time that term was introduced into law. And this is primarily with the colonization of Africa and the enslavement of African people. But that was around the time when they started to use the term white to distinguish that the racial divide. For a long time, it was I'm English or I'm British, or there was very much the categorization was about where you were from as opposed to the color of your skin. And so it was around the 1690s that the first term white came into law and was used to distinguish people from one another. So there you go.
Okay. Interesting. Do you know, I also want to share like a little fun fact. Not fun, but fact.
Oh boy, yay, racism.
Racism, yay. Before the 18th centuries, do you know European explorers actually called East Asians white?
Yes. Didn't they call them the Oriental white?
Yes, we were called Oriental white. It was like a bit later, they categorized as yellow, but they see us as white. Because also in the 1800s, it was like, I don't know, people somehow even whiter than us. I don't know. But we were called Oriental white before.
Interesting.
So we were white before.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's great.
So
that's great. Yeah, it is. Is that your quiz question or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I gave you the answer. That's not okay.
I knew the answer. Amazing. Nope, I didn't.
Mine's even less fun. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry. Can you name any Canada's white supremacy organization?
The Proud Boys.
Oh my God, yes! That is one of them.
Yes.
So ding.
Unfortunately. But yes, they started in Canada from what I understand. And then they now have this huge following and huge groups in the United States. Proud Boys.
And they are also listed as a terror organization.
Good, as they should be, because they are.
They are. They're one of the first white supremacist group being on the list of terrorist organizations.
Good.
Yeah. And I want to share another one.
Yeah.
It's called Active Clubs. Active clubs is actually many organizations, but then they're all kind of grouped into, yeah, people call them active club because all these organization under this umbrella somehow use like fighting or exercise as a kind of a training as train for a war, a racial war, basically. That's what they're trying to say. And they're all like these kind of active clubs to keep people moving and in good physical condition so they can fight this racial war. And there's many of them out there under this active clubs umbrella. Nationalist 13. What else? Second Sons. And actually both is founded by this guy called Jeremy Mackenzie.
Oh, Jeremy. The other thing, CBC actually did a really good documentary on this. We'll post it in our show notes, but they uncovered that most of these groups will rent out martial arts studios to practice.
Yes, the resource I got from it actually that.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly what you just said. Yeah. Anyway, we'll put in our show notes. Yeah.
To end our episode, I do need to apologize. So I had a fan reach out to me and say that I misnamed something that we were referencing. The half man, half horse.
Yeah.
I called it a minotaur. A minotaur, I think is what I called it. But it's a centaur. It's a centaur.
A centaur.
So my apologies. We are correcting it. And if you're listening, love you much. Thank you for pointing it out. But yes, I had to apologize for that. So that's all. So we're going to end there. Yeah.
We make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We do. So thanks for listening. And do check us out on all our social medias. Our website is canadiansalad.ca. And please reach out. If this episode made you feel uncomfortable, consider, and you listen to it all though, like that's the biggest first step. Please reach out to us, hello@canadiansalad.ca, if you want to process more or if you want to just more resources. Like we're here and we're in this journey together. So
exactly. We are.
Anyway, so thank you, Hostion. Love to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Yeah. We will see you next week.
Next Tuesday. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Canadian Salad is written and produced in British Columbia, Canada by Hostion and Andrea McCoy. Theme music is by Naver Avetyan from Pixabay.
This has been a Good Drinklin production.